Hi, welcome to another episode of ALS Caregiving Strategies. My name is Cooper Penner. Forgive my real fluffy haircut, realizing COVID's taken its toll on me. So today I wanted to speak about communication. And communicating with someone who has late-stage ALS is one of the most subtle and important elements of care. You know, my mom is totally locked in at this point. And on one end of the spectrum, there are times when I can tell she's really visibly upset, really needs something, and being able to communicate with her quickly is critical for her health, you know? Maybe she's saying there's some subtle issue with the machine, it's breathing too fast, or else she sees something bad, you know, she saw her cat jump off the balcony one time. And being able to really quickly get that information is just paramount to her safety. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you know, being able to speak at a reasonable speed, you know, speak at an approximation of the speed that you're thinking is really important for helping someone maintain their sense of identity, you know. So for my mom, someone who's a genius and thinks at 1,000,000 miles a second, it's really frustrating to have a great joke and have to slowly spell it out, you know, or have a point she really wants to make that's subtle, and, you know, have us spend a long time spelling it out when the conversation's moved far away. So being able to get that stuff out quickly, have a shorthand, or have effective technologies to facilitate it, I think are really important, both, as I said, for her safety and also for maintaining some semblance of normalcy. So for this video, I wanted to delineate our conversation into three different stages, these kind of three stages of ALS experience with speaking or lack of speaking. And obviously that's, you know, super linear, and no one has a linear experience, and everyone reaches different points at different times or not at all. But I thought it would be helpful to cover a couple really explicit bases, because I think there's some decisions that have to be made and some skills that have to be learned. And laying out a time frame certainly would have been helpful for me, because I think I learned a lot of this stuff on the fly under great pressure. So the first thing to talk about is, you know, if you're someone who is very early in your ALS experience, or your loved one is, something to really consider is banking your voice. And I think this is something that not a lot of people think about, because there's so much else going on. You know, your life is about to get turned upside down, and no one really knows anything about ALS or any other neurodegenerative condition. But chances are, if you decide to continue living, you will at some point be speaking with the assistance of a machine. And I'll speak a little bit more about those machines. But it'll be really helpful to have your own voice coming from that machine when that time comes. So taking steps to either explicitly bank your voice, and there's some companies that help you do that. I think, God, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but ostensibly they use artificial intelligence to recreate your voice using a specific set of samples. You know, I think a lot of people don't opt to do that because it's a little bit expensive, and there's sort of free approximations that work nearly as well. The other decision, one of these approximations, is to just bank explicit phrases, you know? So maybe there's something you say all the time. Maybe your family has a saying. Maybe you have a food you love, or a thing you love, or your pet's name. Getting all that down in your voice will be wonderful down the line. And we don't have any of that, you know? I wish we had some phrases for my mom. It would be so nice for her, and it would be so nice for us, because with a lot of these technologies, you end up speaking in, like, the voice of the Queen of England. You know, they have 40 choices, but it's always a little bit strange. And then actually speaking about, you know, the process of losing one's voice. For my mom, that came quite early. You know, she had ostensibly bulbar onset. So, you know, her first symptoms were she was slurring her speech. It was really painful for her because everyone thought she was, like, on drugs or drunk. And so really quickly she started to lose the ability to speak, you know, and we could understand her because we communicated with her so much, but it was shocking to me that, you know, she would say something and my friends literally couldn't understand what she was saying. At this stage, I think it would be really helpful to begin the process of getting one of these. We have a Tobii Dynavox, one of these eye tracking devices. So I'm going to show it. It's like a little bit goofy to show a screen to a screen because just all the glare. But the way it works is you can see these two red dots down here. Those track your eyes. And there's just a board on the screen. It could be your email. It could just be a standard GUI with the alphabet, graphic user interface with the alphabet. And by following your eyes, you're able to effectively speak. And I think I've spoken to a lot of people who have these but don't use them because they're a little bit fussy. I think it's a very well-designed machine, but there's just a lot of steps you have to take to learn how to be at home with it. You have to calibrate it every time. You have to figure out the distance it goes from your head, things like that. So as early as possible, if you can spend some time learning how to use one of these machines, whether you're the individual suffering from ALS or a caregiver, I think it's super helpful because you may end up spending a lot of time with these and they're extremely useful potentially. For me, I spent a while just sitting in my mom's chair or whatever on the couch trying to get at home with it and getting a sense for what it actually felt like to navigate something with my eyes. And the things that are challenging might not be what you expect. The other element of these is that you can bank phrases. You can have specific messages and emails. So just looking at my mom's, she's recently written, "Will you read to me? You are gorgeous. I feel good. How are your kids?" It's like a little psychoanalysis of my mom too. So, just getting all that stuff down will save you an immense amount of time and hardship in the future. And I think these devices are really great. Moving into the third stage is, when things may become more difficult. And it's difficult to imagine a time when you wouldn't be able to effectively use your eyes. For my mom, she quite literally now can only move her eyes horizontally one direction. That's her only muscular capacity. So we have to develop a shorthand. The tools we used initially to develop this, before she got to that stage, so I probably skipped this step, was these boards. And so if you go to the hospital, at some point they'll probably hand you something that looks like this. And the idea is that either they put a laser pointer on your head, or maybe you can move your hand a little bit, or they follow your eyes, and you look at the thing that's relevant. Oh, I'm a huge moron. This is backwards, so it looks backwards to you. But, I'm hot. I'm cold. Oral care. I'm sure these were designed by people who studied it. We never ended up using these picture ones. I find them a little bit strange, but they will have those available for you. They're kind of helpful. What we ended up using much more frequently was a board that just basically looked like this. And again, I'm a huge idiot. I should have drawn all this backwards. But it is very quick and easy to iterate through. So if I were to say like, hi, I would look, you're following my eyes. I would look at the two and you'd spell out E, F, G, H, and the person you're spelling with would signal in some way. And then you just continuously iterate by following their eyes. So next I would look at this and you would say, hi. I hope that was clear and not just surreal to watch. So that's how we did it for a very long time. Now we don't use any boards, and with my mom we just spell out 1, 2, 3, 4, L, M, N, O, and then can get words like that. And for each of the letters, we have a list, which is kind of irrelevant for us because we have it memorized, but a list of the likely words. So for O, it might be oxygen. It might be oxycodone if she's in a lot of pain. I don't know what else. She likes orange juice sometimes, so maybe orange juice. But yeah, being able to kind of slowly develop these lists and explicitly develop these lists for caregivers who maybe won't know will be really, really helpful. And just getting used to these because you end up communicating so much with them now. For me, I literally just think about it as normal communication. Like, it's kind of freaky, sometimes I'll be talking to my girlfriend and I'll literally be like, look to the left if you want to do this. It's just become my mode of communication or something. Yeah, so I guess in sum, invest time and energy into getting one of these Tobies as early as possible, and insurance will cover them. It's almost certain your insurance will cover it. Medicare, Medicaid cover them. Most private insurers do. These are kind of standard now. I would get one of these and I would invest the time and energy into understanding how it works and being comfortable with it, because it will make your life easier and it'll give you or your loved one some more independence than you might have had otherwise. I would spend some time voice banking, potentially. Again, someone from the outside, I would love to be able to hear my mom's voice in some way other than a video. And then getting used to this other sort of more low-tech solution, which you'll use if your loved one or you are on the toilet, are going to bed, the machine dies, you end up hating it, you can't use it. You're gonna have to have a system like this for communication, and practicing like you would a new language if you're going to live in a foreign country, which you kind of are, you're going to a different planet, will really pay dividends. Yeah, so I'm going to include my email in the comments. If you have any questions about the Tobii, if you want me to send you some boards, I can send you some websites that have these pre-made. I can talk to you about it. Please reach out, feel free. And I can give you names of people whose job it is to set these up and facilitate these processes. Okay, I think that's about it. Yeah, okay. Have a great day. Thanks.